Hello and welcome to the Northern Medina County Chamber Alliance Buzz on Business. I'm your host, James Collins from Semper Fidelis Financial. And with me today, I've got our guest, Ryan Cole from Paul Davis. I had the opportunity to get to know Ryan here just a little bit briefly. Our past is significantly intertwined, and we've been through a whole lot of walks of life together, more than we knew. Carl DeForest will be disappointed to know that there are two jarheads now combined in the city and fixing things like Gotham around here. So Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you coming. So Paul Davis, give me the top end, the big blue arrow. What does Paul Davis do?
Well, it's a great question. A lot of times with the same name like Paul Davis, it doesn't really say what we do, right?
Right.
So people ask that, and the reality is, you'll hear us say, we're the last person you want to call, which is strange when you think about a business. We do what's called mitigation, remediation, and restoration services for people who have had losses to their homes or their businesses. So whether it's a commercial property or a personal dwelling, if they've had storm damage, flooding, water damage, a burst pipe, a fire, we'll go in and mitigate that, which means we stop it from getting worse. We'll remediate it, fixing that immediate damage, and then we'll repair it or restore the home. So we work with insurance companies, but at the end of the day, the homeowner or the property owner is our customer.
And so you said businesses and private. So is there any difference in what you're focused on?
No, we focus on both of them because things happen outside of your control in both types of properties. So it doesn't matter whether you own a commercial property and you have it leased out to tenants, or maybe it's your own building and you run a business out of it, or it's your home.
Okay.
Things happen, pipes break, fires happen, and you need to be able to get your place put back in order. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Hey, so a little bit of a track or a little bit of history about Ryan. So he came up through the Marine Corps. That was our common ground, obviously. And then spent some time in the financial services business as well. So it was interesting hearing about his transition over with Paul Davis, and it was almost like it was a little bit meant to be. It sounds like you've got some deeper roots within the company. So what was that start like?
Yeah, I owned some insurance agencies and was in the insurance world, so I knew the claims process. But what was really transformational for me is in 2016, we experienced a fire in my own home. So we were living a little north of here in Brook Park, and had a 4-bedroom colonial. We loved it. It was a beautiful home.
Man.
And there was a fire in the basement that was put out, but it kind of kindled up like a slow fuse in the middle of the night through some insulation. Some blown-in insulation rekindled in the middle of the night and basically took most of the second story off the house. So I was, as an insurance agent, that client who is standing on his tree lawn the next morning, looking at his house and realizing the only clothes that he owned in the world were the ones that were on his body. It gave me a really unique insight, so that when the opportunity came to be able to shift industries, to be able to come into that mitigation and remediation business, I was a little familiar with it, having walked through it. And I also knew how big of a difference companies like Paul Davis make in the lives of their clients.
You know what? No kidding. You've this is your third side of the scenario here. So you've got the 360 view. You were selling the protection for it, or providing the protection for it from a financial standpoint. You were I guess what would be the term, but you went through it yourself, experienced it, and then now you're actually resolving it, right? So you should call yourself, you've got
trifecta, I guess.
Yeah, the trifecta. And speaking of, so another thing I know you're involved in, it seems like you're highly involved in your church, and you've taken that on to the Reserve Forces or National Guard.
National Guard,
I understand, so hats off to you, that's really awesome.
Thank you.
And I know directly the benefit guys like you are providing out there, especially when the troops are, whether they're training along exercises or they're actually deployed, they're going through a lot of things back here, as we know everybody else is, so troops aren't any different, and it's guys like you that bring that synergy or bring the calm when there's a lot of craziness.
It is, yeah. Thank you very much.
How'd you get involved in that?
You know, having a background as we do coming from the Marine Corps, things are done a certain way. There's all these systems, processes, a way to be able to do it. And I found myself really attracted to that. I was enlisted when I was, before I was 20, spent time in there, went back to officer candidate school, as we were talking about earlier. And what I found was there was an ideology, I guess you could say, of how to live life that was attractive. And for me, because I'm a chaplain with the National Guard, it's a way for me able to pour back into those lives, and I'm able to mix a love for the military and that culture and what it does with my faith. Yeah. And so it's a good blend.
That's awesome.
But it was something over time. After serving traditionally, I said, hey, I'd like to be able to combine these two, so it was a good match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't tell Carl you're now with the Army
sure.
side.
Won't brag about that too much.
Don't bring that up. Last thing, you know what we speak about? You're the last people somebody should call because you're correcting
right.
things. Are there things from preventative side, or is there inspection that folks should be kind of leaning into that may keep you from coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the things that we experience in winters when it's really cold and it's going to get down into the single digits. They always tell you leave a faucet dripping at night. Generally try to make that one not next to a bedroom. It's a good idea to be able to make sure that you're getting your furnace checked. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen so that while you're cooking, if something happens, you've got resources available. All of those things are still going to potentially have damage. Your sump pump, if you have a basement with a sump pump, make sure you have a battery backup. Make sure that it has the ability to be able to keep running. If it's raining like it is here in the spring, you want to check it to be able to make sure your basement is good. Those are just a few things, but absolutely. There's things that homeowners should be doing to be able to try to be able to protect their home.
Nice. Well, hey, we're glad we've got somebody like you in the area that when that happens, we know disasters do happen. We can't mitigate everything. Ryan, I want to send a special shout out. His son, recently, another Devil Dog up there doing great things, was Marine of the Quarter for the 4th Marine Corps District, United States Marine Corps Reserves. Recently, so shout out to, what's your son's name? Toby. And Ryan, thanks so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. Thanks.